Virgo, can I ask you something? Have you been feeling like something's a little off lately? Not a dramatic event, not anything obvious, but just this slow, creeping feeling that something in your energy field isn't quite right. Like you're doing everything the same, your routines, your thoughts, your habits, but something's shifting underneath it all. And maybe, just maybe, you've been waking up feeling a bit drained even though you slept. Or you've had this tightness in your chest, this odd restlessness at night, even though nothing has technically gone wrong. I know that feeling. It's like your spirit is trying to tell you something, but the message is getting jammed, scrambled like static in a radio frequency. And the strange part, that feeling has a name, or at least it's tied to someone with a name that starts with J or B. I'm not saying they're bad people, but what I am saying is their energy, it's been brushing up against yours in a way that's no longer innocent. It's not about drama or revenge, it's about awareness. And from May 29th to May 31st, your field, your intuitive radar is going to be wide open, which means if someone's projecting their unresolved stuff onto you, you'll feel it. You already are. Let's be honest. Virgo, you've always been intuitive, but not in the flashy, loud way some people think intuition works. Yours is more subtle. Yours shows up when you walk into a room and instantly feel the energy shift. When someone texts you and before even opening it, your gut already tells you what it's about. When your dreams speak in symbols that linger in the back of your mind for days, that's your kind of knowing. And lately, that knowing has been nudging you hard. You've been second-guessing decisions that felt solid just a week ago. You've replayed conversations in your mind, not because you're obsessive, but because something about them felt off. Like someone was saying one thing but meaning another. Like there was something unsaid in their silence that spoke louder than words. And deep down, you've started to wonder, am I being paranoid? Or is my intuition trying to save me? Here's your answer. You're not crazy. And you're definitely not wrong. That uneasy feeling, it's not random. It's energy. It's resonance. When someone thinks about you with heavy emotion, jealousy, guilt, attachment, you feel it, especially during sensitive astrological windows like the end of May. This isn't about overreacting. It's about protecting your peace. And here's a truth you might need to hear. Just because someone was once close to you doesn't mean they still belong in your energy field. Emotional loyalty is beautiful, but not when it turns into spiritual leakage. You're not meant to carry the emotional debris of people who haven't done their healing. Your soul has work to do. Your energy is sacred real estate. And just because someone smiles doesn't mean their energy is kind. That feeling you keep ignoring, that inner nudge that says something's not quite aligned, that's your guide. That's the wisdom that's been with you since before you were even born. So stop dismissing it. Stop calling it coincidence. And start treating your intuition like the sacred compass that it is. To bring this home, let me offer you an example. Think about the last time you trusted your gut and it turned out to be right. Maybe it was walking away from a conversation that didn't sit well. Maybe it was saying no to something that looked perfect on the outside but felt wrong inside. Those moments weren't accidents. They were clarity in motion. And now, you're being called to do it again, this time with more conviction, more certainty. Because when Virgo listens to their intuition, doors open, distractions dissolve, and peace returns. Let me go even deeper here, because sometimes, Virgo, your biggest challenge isn't the people who cross your boundaries. It's the fact that you keep giving them access out of habit, out of compassion, out of hoping they'll finally see your heart. But here's the hard truth. The ones who drain you rarely realize they're doing it. And if you don't draw the line, they'll keep showing up with their chaos, their guilt, and their expectations until your peace becomes their hiding place. So what do? You start by noticing, how do you feel after being around certain people? Do you feel lighter, Or do you feel like your energy is being siphoned away slowly? That's not just fatigue, that's feedback. That's your body and soul telling you, this connection may not be aligned anymore. And if that person's name happens to start with J or B, and their presence keeps resurfacing around this time, please don't ignore that. Write it down, sit with it, don't judge it, but don't pretend it means nothing either. Your intuition is not a luxury. It's not a nice-to-have spiritual feature. It's your first language. Before you learn to speak, you learn to sense. And now, during this sensitive window from May 29th to May 31st, the universe is turning up the volume on that language. The question is, are you going to listen? Because listening to your intuition doesn't mean you're being dramatic. It means you're finally choosing yourself. Now let's talk about the real heart of this message, the interference. Virgo, I want you to slow down for a second and tune in. Think of someone whose name starts with a J, or maybe a B. Someone who's been close before, someone you trusted or cared for deeply. Maybe it was a friend, maybe a lover, maybe even a family member. This person may not even be actively in your life right now, but that doesn't mean they're not showing up in your dreams, in your thoughts, in the way your energy feels unset. This kind of manipulation isn't the dramatic kind you see in movies. It's subtle. It works through memory, through old agreements that were never broken, through the feeling that you still owe them something, even if it's just a response. And if you're highly sensitive like most Virgos are, you pick up on that. You carry that. What's even trickier is that they may not be doing this intentionally, but their energy, their unresolved emotions, their desire to hold on to a version of you that no longer exists, it's reaching for you. That's how energetic cords work. We form them through closeness, but if we don't cut them when things shift, those cords keep tugging at us, quietly, constantly. And Virgo, I need you to hear this. You do not owe anyone access to your field just because you once shared a story with them. Let's get brutally honest for a moment. One of the biggest reasons you haven't fully protected your space isn't because you don't know how. It's because you're afraid of disappointing people. You've been the fixer for so long, the peacekeeper, the one who smooths things over even when you're the one hurting. And that's not weakness, it's habit. It's identity. You've been conditioned to think your worth comes from how well you show up for others, how much you can take on, how quietly you can carry it. But what if I told you that constantly keeping the peace at the cost of your own clarity is slowly destroying your sense of self? What if I told you that your silence isn't noble? It's costing you parts of your spirit that you may not even realize you've given away. There comes a moment in every healer's journey where you realize that not every situation is meant to be fixed. Not every connection is meant to be saved. Some are meant to teach you where your limits are. You've probably had moments where you bit your tongue just to avoid confrontation, where you said it's fine when it wasn't, where you told yourself it wasn't a big deal, even though your body was screaming otherwise. Those aren't just small compromises. They're tiny cuts that over time bleed you dry. And here's the truth most people won't say: keeping others comfortable while you suffer inside isn't kindness. It's self-abandonment. Virgo, you've got to come home to yourself. You've got to ask, who am I when I'm not managing someone else's emotional weather? Who am I when I stop trying to make sure everyone else is okay? And finally ask if I am. That question might terrify you, but it's the doorway to everything you've been missing. You were not put on this earth to shrink, to adapt endlessly, to be the emotional cushion for people who refuse to grow. You were meant to evolve, to become. And sometimes that becoming requires you to disappoint someone else in order to finally choose yourself. That's not betrayal. That's sacred alignment. So when this person with the J or B name circles back, or their energy lingers, pause and ask yourself, are they supporting your growth or pulling you backward into a role you've already outgrown? Are they loving you as you are now, or are they just addicted to the version of you that made their life easier? You're allowed to let go of relationships that only honor your old self, because your future deserves better than your past's leftovers. Let's look at an example. Maybe you once had a friend. Let's say her name was Jenna. She was there for you in a tough time. You shared laughs. You cried together. You leaned on each other. But somewhere along the line, the energy shifted. Now every time she messages you, your stomach drops. You feel guilty ignoring her, but drained when you respond. That's not love. That's an outdated bond still running on old emotional code. And Virgo, you don't need to stay loyal to a connection that no longer or maybe it's someone named Ben. He used to see your light, but only when it served him. And when you started growing, setting boundaries, becoming more independent, he pulled away. Or worse, tried to make you feel like you were too much. But now he's back. Subtle check-ins, vague texts, nostalgia bombs, and you feel yourself getting pulled in again, huh? But this time, you see it. You recognize it. That's your power coming back online. You're not the same Virgo you were back then. So stop living like it. This is your moment to release, to rise, and to reclaim your energy without apology. Let's talk about the High Priestess, Virgo. When this card appears in your reading, it doesn't shout. It doesn't demand your attention with fireworks or urgency. It just shows up, quiet, steady, timeless. And in that stillness, it whispers the truth you've been trying to outrun. The High Priestess is the keeper of sacred knowledge, of intuition, of the kind of wisdom that doesn't come from books, but from stillness. She doesn't chase clarity, she becomes it. And when she sits in your space, Think about it. When was the last time you truly sat in silence and listened not to the world, not to others, but to the gentle voice inside you, the one that knows what's right but gets drowned out by other people's opinions, noise, expectations? You've been asking for answers. You've been wanting signs, and yet, the answer isn't out there. It's in here. It always has been. The High Priestess comes to remind you that you don't need more advice. You need more trust in yourself. You don't need another person's permission. You need presence. You don't need to explain what you feel. You need to honor it. That's what she offers, an invitation to return to yourself, to your own center of truth. Then we have the world. And Virgo, this is big. The world doesn't just mean an ending. It means a cycle has come full circle. It means you've learned what you needed to learn. You've given what you could give. You've stayed longer than most would have. And now it's time to close that chapter, not with resentment, but with reverence. Because endings aren't failures. They're sacred. They mean you're no longer a match for the energy that once held you. And that's okay. That's growth. You don't need to keep playing a role in someone's story if the chapter has clearly ended. The world shows up to say you've done enough. It's time to move forward. Maybe you've been holding on to something, an old relationship, a friendship, a version of yourself because it once made sense. But lately it feels heavy, restrictive, like you're shrinking to keep it alive. And that's not how life is meant to feel. Love should expand you, not compress you. Loyalty should nourish you, not drain you. The World card is a blessing. It's a reminder that you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from wisdom. You're bringing everything you've learned forward. Every heartbreak, every aha moment, every silent lesson. It's all fuel for what's next. You may find yourself nostalgic during this time, looking back, wondering if maybe, just maybe, you could have done something differently. That's normal. But don't stay there. Because while you're looking back, life is quietly building the next door for you to walk through. A door that leads to alignment, not obligation, to clarity, not confusion. So when the World card meets the High Priestess, what you're being told is this: you already know. Deep down, you already know what needs to end. You already know where your energy is being wasted. You already know who isn't meeting you with the same depth, and your job now isn't to overthink it, it's to honor that knowing. And if you need a little ritual to seal this truth into your body, try this: light a candle, sit with your hand on your heart, and speak aloud the names or the stories you're ready to release. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with sacred respect. Thank them, bless them, and let them go. Not because you're weak, but because you finally understand your worth. Because Virgo, the truth is you've graduated. You've outgrown rooms you once begged to be let into. You've become the version of yourself that no longer needs to explain why you're walking away. You're not here to beg anyone to see your value. You're here to stand in it fully, and when you do, you'll attract different kinds of people. People who don't just want what you offer, but who honor who you are. People who don't pull from you, but pour into you. People who see your silence not as something to fill, but as something sacred to respect. That's the new cycle you're stepping into. But you can't walk through that doorway carrying bags from the last one. So take a breath, take inventory, and be willing to lay it down, not because it wasn't real, but because it's no longer true. You've done the work. You've earned the upgrade. Now it's time to receive it. Let me give you an example of how this plays out in real life. Maybe you were in a friendship that felt like home. You shared secrets, made plans, leaned on each other, but then the energy shifted. They stopped listening. You started shrinking. You chalked it up to stress, to life, to changes. But every time you left a conversation with them, you felt more drained than uplifted. That's not a failure. That's feedback. That's the universe showing you what no longer matches your growth. Or maybe you kept showing up for someone who never really showed up for you. You remembered their birthdays, listened to their problems, stayed up late to support them, and they forgot the little things, dismissed your pain, laughed when you were serious. You thought if you just gave more, they'd eventually see you. But Virgo, you were never meant to earn love. You were meant to receive it. That's what the world and High Priestess want you to know. That you are enough. That your journey is valid. That the closure you seek starts from within. And that your future begins the moment you stop fighting for what you've already outgrown. Virgo, if you've made it this far, then you already know this isn't just about astrology. It's about your soul reclaiming space. And now it's time for action, not the loud, dramatic kind, but something much quieter, more sacred. This next part is for your energy, your peace, your alignment. It's a ritual, a reset, a remembering of who you really are before the world, the noise, or anyone else tried to convince you otherwise. Here's what I want you to do sometime between May 29th and May 31st. Carve out a few minutes for yourself. Find a quiet place. No phones, no distractions. Just you, your breath, and your truth. Bring a piece of paper, a pen, a white candle if you have one, and write down the name or names of anyone who's been lingering in your energy. This could be someone you still love, someone you've tried to forgive, someone whose name starts with J or B, or someone you can't quite shake, even though you know the karmic. As you write, don't judge, don't edit, just release. Let your hand speak what your heart has been holding on to. Then light the candle. Read each name aloud, not with anger, not with shame, but with honesty. and then say, I release what no longer belongs to me. I reclaim my peace. I choose clarity over confusion. I choose myself. And when you're ready, burn the paper. Let the flame do the rest. Watch it turn to ash. Let the smoke rise. Let it carry your confusion, your guilt, your hesitation up and away. This isn't about cutting people off. It's about cutting cords, energetic cords that have been draining your light. You are not here to be anyone's emotional anchor unless they're willing to row the boat with you. You are not here to carry people through their storms if they refuse to learn how to swim. You deserve reciprocity, respect, and above all, peace. And if the idea of doing this ritual brings up emotion, good, that means it matters. That means it's working. Let it. Cry if you need to. Breathe deep. Feel your feet on the ground. This is your reset. This is you remembering what it feels like to stand in your own energy, untangled, unburdened, fully yours again. Because the truth is, Virgo, you can't move forward with clarity if parts of you are still tied to the past. You can't welcome in love, opportunity, or alignment if your field is still cluttered with confusion. And you know that you've always known. This ritual just makes it real. So whether you're burning one name or 5, whether it's someone from years ago or last week, whether it's romantic, platonic, or even familial, it all matters. Your energy is sacred. Your boundaries are sacred. And this is you protecting what's sacred. You don't need anyone's permission to begin again. You just need presence. And now you have it. You've made it to this moment. Virgo, don't rush past it. Feel it. Honor it. And let this be the turning point where everything shifts quietly, but completely. Let me give you a personal perspective. One woman wrote to me recently, telling me how she did this exact ritual for someone she hadn't spoken to in over a decade. Just a name on paper, just one flame. But what happened after was something she couldn't explain. She slept through the night for the first time in weeks. She woke up and didn't immediately check her phone, looking for a message that never came. She felt different, lighter, stronger, clearer. That's what energetic release does. It doesn't erase memories. It doesn't make the past disappear, but it unhooks you from the cycle, from the weight, from the patterns that no longer serve your becoming. And once you've felt that freedom, Virgo, you'll never want to go back. You'll start guarding your energy like a sacred temple. You'll be more intentional with who you let in, and you'll start to notice something magical. Peace becomes your new normal, because peace isn't found, it's chosen. And this week, you get to choose it. Virgo, if you've stayed with me through this entire journey, take a moment right now to breathe. Not a shallow, rushed breath, but a real one. In through your nose, hold it, and slowly out through your mouth. Because what you just did, it wasn't just watching a video, it was a ceremony, a conversation between you and your highest self. And I hope you feel that the past doesn't define you, but it does shape how you carry your present until you choose to set it down. And today, with all the clarity that's come through, I hope you're choosing peace. Not because it's easy, but because it's the only thing that truly belongs to you. All the emotional labor you've done for others, all the nights you've stayed quiet just to keep things calm, all the moments you've doubted your own needs just to maintain connection, none of that was wasted. But it also doesn't have to. There is power in quiet decisions, in walking away without slamming doors, in choosing to stop explaining your boundaries and simply living them. That's where your evolution is happening now, not in performance, but in presence. And I promise you this: when you choose yourself, when you finally make space for your voice, your values, your vision, everything around you begins to shift. The right people start to appear, the wrong ones fade out, And you stop searching for home in others because This is not the end of a story. It's the beginning of a truer one. So take this final moment and ask yourself, what do I want to feel more of in my life? Peace, joy, truth, love. Then walk toward it with everything you've got. You've released what's not yours. Now it's time to receive what is. Thank you for being here, for listening, for reflecting, for choosing clarity. If this message moves something in you, share it with someone you love. And if you feel called, comment below with the words, I choose clarity. Let the universe witness your declaration. You are not alone on this path, Virgo. And your future, it's brighter than anything you've had to walk away from. Let me tell you something I remind myself often. Peace isn't passive. It takes courage. It takes choosing silence when the world pushes noise. It takes walking away from comfort that's become corrosive. But the beauty on the other side, it's unmatched. It's the moment you wake up and realize you're not surviving anymore. You're living. You're not fixing. You're flowing. So if today felt like a turning point for you, hold that. Guard it. Let it bloom. And remember, every time you honor your truth, you give others permission to do the same. That's how healing spreads from one brave heart to another.